We want to check in with Marissa Armas now. And Marissa, intense earlier tonight, and we hear that there's some ash flying around. Describe what's going on there now.
Well, we just moved down about a mile from where we were at about 30-40 minutes ago. We're now at the intersection of Marshall Drive and El Dorado Springs Drive. And if you've been watching our coverage, you know that we've pretty much just been up and down this stretch monitoring this area. Now, I want you guys to take a look back here. Earlier today, this entire area was engulfed in flames, embers flying everywhere. And if you look over there where those red lights are, you can obviously still see some active flames. Now, the police officer that I just spoke with today says that that's the home that, if you've been following our coverage, we saw first get set on fire, and now, I mean, it's non-existent. It's just rubble. And so we've been here throughout the day, 3-4 hours, and we saw it go down. I mean, from when we first got here to it actually being a home, a structure, to now it being nothing. But the police officer tells me that units continue to go back there because they're trying to put out some of those active flames, because again, with some of these winds that tend to come in and out, they want to make sure that that doesn't spread alongside this stretch. And that being said, I mean, again, when we drove down Marshall Drive here, most of these structures were gone, completely destroyed. And I want to say that the last time we were over there, which was maybe around 6, I saw maybe one structure in a stretch of about 2 miles, one home, everything else completely gone. I mean, again, we're talking cars, tools, sheds, I mean, everything just in that area. And again, in that area also just downed poles and trees, pretty much just moving everywhere. And if you take a look over here to my right-hand side, I don't know if you can see that on camera, but those are obviously just embers that, depending on where the wind's going and when it comes in, they start to just flicker. So it's still pretty active here, and the crews are going to continue to stay out here. The officer I spoke to right now says that they're no longer, I mean, for quite some time here today, they were allowing people to go back into that area, this stretch that's now, this road that's now blocked off, but now you can no longer do that because it is a safety hazard. And I want you guys to take a look over this way. Go ahead and take a look over to my right here. I mean, this is an area that I've showed you guys earlier today, but this was a home. And as you can see, there's still flames going there. There are embers that are coming down this way. And so, of course, the officer told us to just take caution and make sure that we're monitoring our situation here, because it's still active. And as I look around right now at just some of the foothills in these grassy areas, I mean, we're seeing little hot spots pop up and embers flying. So again, I actually spoke to the man who owned this property, and when I asked him about it, I mean, he had no words. He pretty much told me, you know, I don't know what to say at this point. In his eyes, you know, he was tearing up. And so again, we're continuing to stay out here. As I've mentioned earlier, I mean, most of this area unfortunately is gone, and now we still have crews just out here trying to get out some of these final flames.
Marissa, one thing, and we talked about it with Michael, just tremendous work being done by the XL people and the other power crews. But, you know, when you think about it tomorrow, when you think that there are going to be downed wires and trying to determine which ones are hot and which ones are not, you know, it's going to continue to be extremely dangerous, even aside from the fires and any spot fires that might still be going. When you think about the power grid and trying to get power back into these areas, I would think that if you're somebody who lives in one of these areas that's been evacuated and has seen some real damage, it could be longer than you would hope before you're allowed to get back in there for good safety reasons, though.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And again, once we were driving out, and you could see some of those embers flying again right now, but once we were driving down Marshall Drive here, I mean, me and Mario, we saw power lines snapped and trees down, and I said, no, we need to go back. I mean, because like you said, you just don't know what's live and what isn't, and the wind is blowing, and the last thing you need is for that to hit your car, you know? And so a lot of devastation here in this area, and just a lot of cleanup. I mean, again, just driving down this stretch, I've never seen anything like that. I mean, everything was in ash, black and white. And like I said earlier, I mean, Mario described it as a war scene, and I really just no words. I mean, how do you explain that to someone, the people who are running down here, the neighbors who continue to ask me, you know, which structures are down? You know, it's like, unfortunately, everything in this area. And right now, I mean, the winds are picking up again. I mean, it's touch and go. 1 minute they're fine, and look at this right here. These embers flying again, and this is really what's concerning for these crews out here, because you just don't know where these are going to go and what might catch fire. This is a dry area. I mean, I'm not very familiar, you know, with the Boulder area, but just driving down the stretch, I mean, throughout the day, it's a dry area, and so you just don't know which one of these might land on something and catch fire.
That is incredible. Marissa, thank you.